Sue is the coordinator of CIICA, just as Brian is our advocacy on strategy and policy advisor. So welcome, Sue, and take us through the next slides, please.
Thank you very much, Eddie, and thank you, everybody. Could you go back one, please, Kez? Thank you. And we decided just to move on because Brian couldn't see the chat room while he was talking to follow it up. But Brian, there was a lot of discussion in the chat room about following up your comments about cost effectiveness. And one of the problems is when people concentrate on the costs of cochlear implants, of course, the politicians focus on that instead of focusing on the fact that actually cost effectiveness of cochlear implants and that cochlear implants can be cost saving as well as changing lives. And people talked about the spend to save documents and how useful they are. So that was some of the discussion in the chat room that was really useful. And those documents, of course, are available. Now, Advocacy and No Budget is my title, and in our last webinar we had a discussion with Beatrice Kuzmai from Italy about how do you manage all this advocacy work and all this that needs to be done that we've heard about this morning or this evening already. How do we do it when we haven't any budget? So this is on behalf of Beatrice as well, who can't be with us today. Next slide, thanks, Kaz. And Beatrice's challenge last time was how do you do advocacy work for cochlear implants and all those things that we've talked about and do no budget? Or that, how do you do it when you have no time, no energy, no resources? These are real challenges for user groups. We've got Daria online who's already commented, and Daria so often tells us how difficult it is for users, for cochlear implant users with full-time jobs to fit in all the advocacy work and the work that they need to do with governments and to challenge things. Beatrice made some suggestions, including worldwide graffiti about cochlear implantation, and gave us this example of the photograph at the top there. But she also said that we ought to have a collaborative press release on the cochlear implant evidence because we're in a really good position at the moment. Anita and Nick have both made the point that we need to have the solutions, the ideas. And here in the World Report of Hearing, as Anita showed as well, there is strong cochlear implant evidence from the World Report on Hearing, and we showed that in our last webinar, and we've now developed some more resources for you to use. Next slide. So using that World Report evidence, that cochlear implant evidence, which is so strong, but the report is 240 pages long, and no politician is going to read 240 pages. We need to make it easy for them to understand. As Nick said, politicians actually have great decisions to make. We need to help them make the decision that we all want. So Beatrice suggested that we do a press release with a worldwide communication, a short press release with 4 to 5 key messages from the World Report on Hearing. And if we create a template for the press release, then every country can adapt it. It'll have at least 4 or 5 key points, so the same message is going around the world, but appropriate for each country, because you need to know your own government, you need to know your own system, you need to know your own place, as Eddie said. The resources we've got from CIICA will give you these. We've got the resources to support you, our summaries of the evidence. She suggests that you use the template that will do the press release to reach the national and local press in your own country, as Beatrice did in Italy. Here we are, the example of the CIICA press release. Next slide, please. And here are some of the tools for change we have, the summaries of the cochlear implant evidence from the World Report on Hearing. We've already shown you in the last webinar the briefing and the synopsis, and we've now already got Dutch, Turkish, Georgian, German, French, Swedish, Spanish and Italian on the way, those translations. And we already have 1,200 downloads of our resources on the CIICA website. So clearly people are using these. And now we've got 2 more that have just gone up. One that's focused on adult cochlear implant evidence and one that's focused on children's evidence. So you can choose. Choose what's most appropriate and make it fit what you need to do and the message you want to give in your country or your area. And we're happy to help you translate those. So, inspired by Beatrice, and thanks to Beatrice, who's on holiday, I think, a plan of action. If we've got the translations ready, then we've got the translations of the evidence ready to give out and to share with governments and to share with the public, who need to know the evidence too, so they can be behind us, and to share with our consumers and users as part of their ammunition to fire. We can give them the bullets to fire, as Laia and her team do so efficiently in Spain. We'll prepare the press release so that you can have it and adjust it to your needs. And then we can get going as Beatrice suggested and inspired us last time, Eddie, to inspire us with a joint press release with joint messages about cochlear implants and what needs to be done around the world with the evidence to back it up. And I see that Monica Goriani's just entered the waiting room, so welcome to Monica in a moment. Then we can share your activity on CIICAnet.org and inspire each other to keep going, because the point's been made that you need to persevere, and that can be really hard when you're on your own. But maybe with the CIICA organisation, if we share it all, then we can inspire each other and help to keep going, Eddie. Thank you very much.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much. Brian, Sue, in a minute, when you talk about the cost of implants, I like that, Brian. So many people are driving cars, and very expensive cars, and politicians love driving cars. And it's not that cochlear implants are expensive. It could be that priorities, and people don't know about the other cost benefit of spending into cochlear implants. So
And
we
I
just
think
need,
I think that's why that spend to save argument has gone really
right,
well. That people,
right.
if you spend money on cochlear implants, you not only change lives, you save society money. So for a politician, what's not to like?